Hi guys, so in today's video I'll be trying out Spellbinders' new clear stamp of the month and embossing folder of the month for February 2024. I want to say 2022 for some reason. 2024, and I did a whole unboxing of the deluxe caboodle, so I will link that video in the description box so you can check that out if you would like to see more about, different things. I usually go through everything, sizing and kind of measuring things for you, and today we're just going to jump right in. So if you're seeing this video, that means that if you are a new club member, if you want to subscribe brand new, you can do that today and going forward until the last week of the month or so. So we're just going to get right to it. So these items were sent for your charge from my review, and of course all opinions are my own. And links in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. For the monthly Spellbinders kits, I have them separated out, and I have their one deluxe caboodle, the one value club that they have. And then regardless of what club you're signed up for, you get 10% off the site once you're logged in, and it'll be reflected there, the pricing with the 10% off. And if you're already signed up, and let's say you keep it for next month, you just can keep it going, or you can just cancel it anytime. You can get the new releases a few days earlier, almost like a week and a half earlier than the general population. So that's just another little perk there. But yeah, so let's get right to it. I think what I want to do today is, I was thinking about using some, again, water-based markers just to color in this lily arch. That's what it's called, the clear stamp. Again, you can do stamp and die of the month, or just the stamp by itself, and then it's included in the deluxe caboodle, everything you see here. So we're going to do that, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll just stamp all these guys. Sometimes what I'll do is, if I have something like this, let's say I want to use that arch too, I will just take the carrier off this one, and I'll ink up the whole thing, and I'll just take a piece of paper to it and just rub and make sure everything really gets onto that paper. And now I have all these sentiments at once, plus the focal point. The only thing is I want to use watercolor paper, and watercolor paper usually has some texture to it, so I don't know that if I do that, I'm going to get a good impression. Now I can stick this onto a stamping platform, but what if it falls off? You know what I'm saying? So I have a couple of, I don't know, we'll see. But either way, we're going to get our sentiment from this set, plus our image there. You are my thoughts, thanks for your friendship, live life in full bloom, spring blessings, celebrate new beginnings, happy Easter, and spring greetings are all on here. So, really nice. And then with this guy, the stencil, we already did the stencil. This is the embossing folder of the month. Again, your standard embossing folder, which is swirling blooms. We're going to use this also. So let me grab some papers, and we'll get started with like our card base and things, and then we'll go from there. Okay, guys, let me put these things to the side. Let's make our card base. Again, I have samples, that's why they're just kind of like this. Yours will be on a carrier with some inspo, some instruction, depending on what it is that you're signed up for and what it needs, right? I'm going to use my paper trimmer, my favorite of all time. It looks like I have a little scrap of paper in there I should probably get out. There we go. Black card base, why not? Even though it's a very springy card, I think black will really make it pop. So standard A2 size piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. I'm going to cut it at 5.5 inches. Just make sure that's nice and straight. And then score it with our same paper trimmer. It has that nice scoring tool. I use this thing every day, many times a day. I love this paper trimmer. And I'm scoring at 4 1/4. And I'll just hold that there. This is very thick paper. A lot of times I'll just use my hand, but since the paper is kind of thick, I'm going to go ahead and go like this. And as you can see, I push it up against this lip, just even though you scored it and you're spot on or however, it just keeps it nice so that when you score it, you have a nice straight edge over here. And then I think I'm going to use this Velvet Rose, one of my all-time favorite colors from Spellbinders, and to be honest, I am running out, so I need to grab some more of this. I use it all the time. I'm going to cut this at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and if you have your, precision dies, even better. It makes a nice, perfect cut for you, and then it kind of bevels it a little bit. You know how a die does, so that looks really nice. But 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, because that's the kind of matte layering I like. Of course, do whatever you like. This obviously makes another card base. I'll score that later. And then this guy, I'm just going to run through. Now, I'm planning on, doing this like this. I love this die. I had pointed out in the last video. It's going to cut away all these extra bits out here, so it's going to be very delicate, and I think that's really awesome. So I have that guy. I'm going to orient it this way. I don't know that it fits the other way. It doesn't. It's more this kind of thing. So, either way, I'm going to pop this through and just run it through my machine, whatever machine you have, and just your standard embossing, folder setting. I'm just kind of eyeballing the design, and that looks pretty good. And I'll be back. And if you still have your standard plates, it's just going to be the plate, the platform, I guess is what they call it, a plate, and then your paper with your embossing folder over it. I said that kind of backwards, so I had to adjust what I was saying there. Look how pretty that is. Again, standard embossing, and then you have the opposite side too, if you like that side, the deboss side. Sometimes I go one way, sometimes I go the other, and it's always really nice. I'm just going to glue that right down, okay? And then we'll go from there. Okay guys, so just have that glued down. So let's do some stamping. So I'm going to take some watercolor paper. Again, you can even use the Spellbinders. Well, they have watercolor paper, but you can also use their better press paper if you have some. It watercolors really nicely, whatever you like. I'm going to take this piece here and just use the smoother side. And stick this down. Like I said, a lot of times I'll take the whole thing and just stamp the whole thing, right? And actually that would fit on there really nicely, and I would have all those sentiments all at once. Again, I can't really guarantee that I'm going to get a good impression the one time, so I'm just going to use my platform and I'll do a couple of the sentiments. And then I think I'm going to also heat emboss this, so I'm pretty sure this is right on there, so you know you don't have to leave. See how it cuts exactly that. Let's see. Live life in full bloom. I'm just going to pick a few of these guys. Happy Easter. Spring blessings. Let's do all those. Actually, let me see how many I can fit on here, so that way I'll just use up the whole thing. There. And of course you don't have to stamp anything all at once. I'm just doing that. Thanks for your friendship. Alright, let's do all those. I'm going to use a black ink, and I'm going to use clear embossing powder. You can definitely use black embossing powder, you know, whatever ink you like. The only thing is you have to really make sure that your paper is not having any kind of static to it, because black embossing powder really wants to stick to it. So you really want to brush it off and make sure it's not anywhere, you know, to bother your design. So I'm using clear. So black ink and then clear, and that way hopefully it'll be okay. Let's make sure that's going to hold that down. I'm just going to use VersaFine ink because I know I can use that. Well, really because it's very juicy and stays wet for a long time, so I can emboss it, heat emboss it really well, more than anything. But you can also use it with water-based markers, you know, watercolor, that kind of stuff. So again, these are photopolymer stamps, so nice firm pressure. They are nice and rigid, you know. Let's see. They can take the pressure. I mean, look how great that is right off the bat. So that looks great. I'm going to clean that up in just a second. Especially with this kind of ink, it's a little sticky. And with this guy, I did not use this thing to make sure my paper wasn't staticky. I had planned on it. It's just a little anti-static pad, but I'm using clear embossing powder, and hopefully it just doesn't stick all over the place, because it can impede your coloring, right, if the embossing powder is there. So now I am going to cover this whole thing with clear embossing powder and just heat set it. Basically, I guess VersaFine is a pigment ink kind of thing. And pigment inks usually stay wet for a very long time. If they even dry for you, they are very juicy. Of course, I grabbed the smallest scrap of paper to help me with this. There we go. And I'm just going to let that come off. Hit the back of this. And I want to show you what I mean by using anti-static pad, because the little powder will stick everywhere. So right there, it won't let me color that in now, because if I heat it, set it, it's going to be clear powder there that's going to make it impossible to color around. So I'm just going to give it some good wax on the back to make sure everything that's just not really stuck to ink actually comes off. And I'm going to heat set that with a heat tool. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, we have this. This is going to cut away quite a bit of basically all the extra like in here, so I don't have to color that, in my opinion. I mean, you can put a little something, but it's not something I'm going to focus on. So what I'm going to do is have a water brush and some water-based markers. Let me see what this color looks pretty. I want kind of like a peachy color. I don't know if this is, ooh, maybe that's the one. because I want it to be different from like what I have over here. I don't know. So that's nice and peachy. Maybe we start with a little something else though. That's gonna get cut away, so I don't mind kind of playing on that side there. That's a pretty color. Okay. So, let me think. Again, this watercolor paper, you can start wet on wet. You can just start however you like. And you can just take your color, if you're just using water-based markers, right to your project. There's something else sticking up there, so I'm just going to... Let's pretend we did that. And then we went into the lighter color also. And then I took my water brush and just pull that color through. And you just got some depth without really doing much, right? That is my motto. Let's put that there. So I'll do the same thing, you know, with the other petals. I'll get some greenery going. Just in this area here. Maybe I'll just take the marker right to it and not even color it through, but we'll see. Let's see. Let's try this green. You know, you can start kind of dark, and you can just color the whole thing, or let your water-based marker help you out, but I think I'm just going to color it. It's just easier that way. So wherever I see greenery, I'll do this kind of thing. And then the little tiny dots that come out of here, or like these centers, I'll probably just use like a yellow marker on, okay? But I'll be back. That is, and it took like, I mean, minutes, super quick. You know, if I really go outside and look at my daylilies, generally this is green because it's like it opens up. I don't know, they're crazy, but anyway, I just went with the color because I thought it was pretty. And then from here, you know, you can take something like a lot of this is going to be trimmed away, but let's say you still want to kind of come in and add a little something like this. You can definitely do that, and then when you do your dye, you'll have a little bit of a blue edge. So again, I could do this, you know, a lot of this is going to get cut away. But I can do this by putting this on a surface and then taking the water-based, you know, my water pen or water brush and bringing it through. And it'll just be more watercolory looking. Or I mean, I can even do it now if I wanted to take that and just kind of spread it out a little bit more. But it's whatever you like. Just, I'm going to go around the whole image. And what I mean by that is like everything in here and, you know, around the arch and everything. So I will be back. Just like that. It's a little something. Okay guys, so we have our dye, and I think this is nice and dry. You can pretty much see right through what you're going to be doing, so I think I'm just going to eyeball where I'm placing this. Looking at the stems, looking at here, looking everywhere just to try and line that up in a nice way. You know, when you do heat embossing, sometimes it makes your paper a little bit wonky, and then the watercoloring also makes your paper a little wonky, so just something to think about as you're working with this. And I need some thing to help me hold these down. And if I need to add a little more blue, I'll do it afterwards, because I wasn't really sure what all this was going to take away. But again, try not to stick it to your actual project. I'm kind of going in here. And then our sentiments, I don't know if this is the one for Happy Easter. It looks like it is. That looks right. Okay. So I'll probably run them all through at the same time since they fit. I'll just eyeball those. And, you know, Happy Easter. That looks pretty good right there. Try to hold down as much of that as I can, but again, not pulling up my heat embossing, and then I'll just look for the dies that I need for all these things. Nope, that's not that one. And I will be back. Again, just covering them up. That one's that one. Tape it down. I'll run this whole thing through. I'll be back. Okay guys, I ran them all through at the same time, and let's see what we have here. Again, it should come out pretty easily since I didn't stick this down. Look at that. Love it. Okay, so I might take my blue pen and do a little more. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But again, I just kind of roughly went around the edges. I wasn't sure how much this was going to cut away or not. And so we have that guy. Look how delicate that is. That is so pretty. Oh my gosh. My plan is to also cut a drop shadow, probably out of gold paper, maybe some shiny gold paper. So I'll just run this die by itself, just like this, through some gold paper. And what do we want to say today? Look at that, live life in full bloom. We have this, the gold paper, this. Okay, so I'm going to run this die also through some gold paper. So they'll both be drop shadowed in gold. So this and this, just simply run it through and I'll be right back. I cut those out. I know I was going to miss some of the way I cut my paper on the sentiment, but I only need a little bit of that to show anyway, so look how pretty that is. And what I'm going to do, like I said, is just take my blue pen and just finish this off. I said I might do it, I might not do it. Well, I'm going to, so I'm going to go in here and just finish off these little areas that I missed. Like in here too, I wasn't sure exactly what all. And then some other little bits here and there, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we do have, oh, I need this guy too. I was just gonna show you the other sentiments that we have. Come on out, hold on. There we go. So we have these guys. Let me get some glue. And I'm going to drop shadow it so that the drop shadow is towards the top. So I guess not really a drop shadow, but kind of. So the lettering at the top has that there. Sorry if that's out of focus. There you go. And then these guys we're going to glue together also. Probably in the same fashion, because if I do one way, it's supposed to look like a shadow, so I'm going to do this one the same way. So let's just get some glue on this guy. On this frame area, of course. I don't like doing too much, because whenever I have something glossy like that paper, I don't want to end up having glue all over the place, but something like that. Yeah. So you can see the little frame here, and it kind of comes out over here, and then the flowers are all accented with that beautiful gold, so I just want to make sure that I'm doing it kind of evenly. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to hold that down on a scrap of paper, and I will be right back. Okay, guys. So, a beautiful background. Again, that velvet rose, I just wanted to contrast with this other pinky peachy kind of color, and then we have that. So I think that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll even put this, you know, it's not quite in the center. That's different for me, you know, I have to put it in the center. Let's try something different today. So I'm gonna put this glue all over this guy and just hold it down, and then I'll put some dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. So let me just get this all over the corners. Of course, this does have some kind of free floating pieces, so you just want to make sure you're getting your glue on there too. I'll put over here to the left, and then I'll get some dimensionals on the back of this guy. Okay guys, so I just put some smaller low profile dimensionals on the back of that guy, and maybe this guy like right here-ish. Looks good. How pretty, very classic, and just what a beautiful style that they put on here. And then, you know, like I said, we have these other guys. Maybe Happy Easter, live life in full bloom, you know. And you have just, I know sometimes people like to mix and match sentiments, but thanks for your friendship. They all look really lovely, and that's only 4, I think, of the 7 sentiments in the set. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll continue holding this guy down because, again, I put him on an embossed surface, so we really want to make sure it stays down. And thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending these items for review. I'll have the images coming up. I'll have the links in the description box, and I will see you all at the next one. Bye now.